Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News channel. Looks like we are running on all channels. Tonight, it looks like the President of Peace is preparing for a much longer-term war with Iran as the death toll there climbs. It seems this little excursion is taken a bit of a turn. We'll fill you in on the details as we wait to see if there will be a ninth night in a row of heavy aerial bombardment of Iran. Also tonight, the World Cup final. We'll take a look at the political side of that, not just the results on the scoreboard. And we'll also take a look at tonight's other top news stories as tonight's broadcast begins.
Maverick News. Expose lies and tell truth. The world is watching.
All right, let's start digging into it. As people keep sending me updates on the top stories that we're covering tonight. Well, we have to start with Iran, even though I'll get to the World Cup stuff, but we're not much onto the sports side of things. I guess all I can do, what I guess I should do, is just acknowledge that Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney went to the World Cup. So did Scheinbaum from Mexico, as the World Cup soccer final was immersed in Canadian wildfire smoke. Oh, and that in itself has become something of a political football, shall we say. But yeah, big night for soccer fans around the world. It was one of the most anticipated matches in many years. Spain crowned the champions of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, defeating defending champions Argentina 1-0 in overtime. 80,000 fans there. But what I think is really more important is that the death toll on the U.S. side in the war with Iran has now escalated, has risen to 17. Another death confirmed by U.S. Central Command overnight through the day today. As we told you yesterday, 2 deaths confirmed yesterday after that Iranian attack, missiles, drones on the U.S. base in Jordan. There was a 3rd U.S. service member missing. They have collected remains, and it appears now that they have confirmed a 3rd U.S. death. With all of this, of course, is the latest in the escalating conflict between the United States, Iran, and regional allies, of course, and Israel. Tensions remain high tonight in the Persian Gulf and surrounding areas. U.S. forces continue airstrikes on Iranian targets. Iran responding through missile and drone attacks on U.S. positions and allies. U.S. Central Command reports additional strikes today targeting Iranian military sites, including coastal surveillance facilities, air defenses, missile and drone storage, and Revolutionary Guard assets. Last night we were covering it or trying to blow by blow, but there was, I think, largely a media blackout in effect as the attacks were actually taking place beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern time, our time, yesterday, and then continuing right through until about 11 or 11:30 Eastern time last night. Finally, the release came from U.S. Central Command confirming that last night's 8th straight night of aerial attacks had concluded. So all of this follows Iranian attacks on commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz and recent strikes that killed U.S. service members because of that strike in Jordan. The Pentagon, as I say, confirming another American troop death, the third one, which we were referring to last night as a missing service member. 17 U.S. troops killed now in this particular conflict. Or maybe, I guess, what it looks like there's still maybe an additional person missing. So this may actually increase now for up to 18 if these other remains recovered are identified as a U.S. service member. But we're at 17 as of this hour. And on the Iranian side, authorities report at least 50 killed and over 500 wounded in the latest round of U.S. strikes, with earlier exchanges claiming 14 or more deaths over 2 nights. Overall war casualties since earlier this year remain in the thousands on the Iranian side, including both military and civilians, according to Iranian health officials and monitoring groups. So tonight's developments: Iran has launched missiles toward Jordan, prompting air defenses to activate in Jordan, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Israel's military warned of possible spillover into its territory in Eilat, across from Jordan's Aqaba port. Israeli air defenses reportedly fired interceptors and air raid sirens, sounded in the area for the first time in a number of weeks, and no major damage or casualties reported in Israel so far from these launches. What we're also seeing is reports that the U.S. seems to be ramping things up, not just in terms of strikes, but also in terms of troop deployments. Not as much video coming out of the attacks overnight, but we do have some that appear to be from last night. But everything I'm seeing, as you know, concerns me because it's hard to tell what's real, what's fake, what's old, what's new, what's recycled. This is video, of course, that is purportedly to be from IRGC headquarters. And the bombing has been relentless, every night hitting somewhere in the vicinity of 160, 180 targets. Last night, no exception. What we should do, I guess, is just dip in and see what U.S. Central Command is reporting tonight. We also know that Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, has rejected a meeting with Iraqi PM Ali al-Zaidi, and he met with Trump this past week at the White House. And well-informed sources, I guess, claim he is carrying a verbal message from Trump addressed to the Iranian leadership. But Iran has ruled out the possibility of any such meeting with U.S. officials, apparently due to strict security protocols. Israeli sources claim that Khamenei is maybe not even in Iran at all tonight because of security concerns. Let's see what U.S. Central Command is reporting as of this hour. Okay, so this is fresh right off the hot off the presses. And as expected, this is what we're getting, another wave of attacks, it appears, as of this hour, commencing even as we speak. Right here. Here's what they're posting. CENTCOM began conducting a new wave of strikes against Iran at 7 p.m. Eastern Time today, 18 minutes ago. For the 9th consecutive night, the strikes will continue, degrading Iranian military capabilities used to attack commercial vessels and civilian mariners transiting the Strait of Hormuz. Go back over to their X account. What else have they posted since last night? Well, let's just scroll here. So there's the notification came in at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Last night's strikes commenced at 6 p.m., concluded at 11:30 p.m. Here they posted that they concluded at the commander-in-chief's direction during the 8th consecutive night of U.S. strikes. CENTCOM forces successfully hit Iranian military coastal surveillance and air defense facilities, maritime capabilities, and missile and drone storage sites to continue degrading Iranian military capabilities. American military assets also targeted Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps forces that launched attacks against U.S. service members in Jordan on July 17th. More than 50,000 U.S. men and women in uniform are operating across the Middle East. They remain highly vigilant, focused, lethal, and ready. And this video being posted, of course, this is all stock footage cut together for social media purposes, or you might say propaganda. But promotional purposes, I hate to use that term, but you know what I'm saying. It's it is what it is. And that is video footage of U.S. forces launching precision strikes targeting Iranian military capabilities for the 8th consecutive night, released July 18th. So this is not stock footage. Well, it is sort of stock footage now, but this is cut together to show some highlights, I guess. I hate to use that phrase too, from overnight, issued by Central Command. Unclassified footage. Okay, so we have these new strikes underway. It says here, sailors prepare U.S. Marine Corps F-35B stealth fighter jets for takeoff aboard USS Boxer while transiting the Arabian Sea. Boxer is the flagship for the Boxer Amphibious Ready Group 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit. Okay. And they're showing other footage and stills from some of the ships in the area. Interesting, just as a sidebar, it looks like Canada is going to join a multinational fighter program, but it won't be with the United States, and not as maybe as a full member. I don't know exactly where this will go, but this opens the door for Canada participating in a program. Here, I'll show you the headline over tonight on CTV. Yeah, right there. Canada to join multinational fighter program, according to reports. So this is a file image they're using here of a 1/10 model of a next generation combat jet for the Global Combat Air Program at the Japan International Aerospace Exhibition back in Tokyo back in 2024. So this is a program that is that involves the UK, Japan, and Italy, and now maybe Canada as well. Ottawa, I guess, looking at becoming a member, taking up observer status for now, with the possibility of joining the program in a more serious and more full participatory way in the future. So it's interesting to see that development, as Canada still has not announced whether it will be buying the Gripen or the F-35 in full. Looks like they're probably going to go with the Gripen. And that's a major expenditure and a shift as well that is taking place among all the allies. And it's costing the United States largely because of instability and erosion of trust because of the way the U.S. president has been behaving. Tonight, Marco Rubio asked about the war in Iran. Here's a clip as he met with reporters. Come on, there we go. Here's the U.S. Secretary of State.
Conducted this operation with a very clear goal in mind. I haven't got a chance to see a lot of reporting. I don't understand what the confusion is. Let me explain it to you, and I'll do it once again as clearly as possible. Perhaps you'll report it that way. The United States is conducting an operation to eliminate the threat of Iran's short-range ballistic missiles and the threat posed by their Navy, particularly to naval assets. That is what it is focused on doing right now, and it's doing quite successfully. I'll leave it to the Pentagon and the Department of War to discuss the tactics behind that and the progress that's being made. That is the clear objective of this mission. The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true because, in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
Yeah, that's the old clip recycled, put up on social media. And people keep highlighting that, of course, because they're saying that it's the United States, it's Israel wagging the tail of Israel wagging the American dog. Here's Pete Hegseth with fighting words from the Department of War. Here he is.
Being an American means something unbreakable. If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you. President Trump has also been very consistent. Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons. Being an American.
Well, we have Americans killed now. 17 of them. 17. I don't know. And then there's all this rhetoric on social media and people, ramping up the World War III concerns. I just don't know. And then just the constant flow of, recycled videos, which we just tapped into there, and videos that appear to be entirely fake. Everything, just about everything being published by Iranian social media accounts, pro-Iranian and state-controlled Iranian social media accounts. It's all basically fake, AI generated. I don't know if this is or isn't. To me, that's fake. That does not look real at all. So, the fog of war is more than just the fog of war right now. Okay, I'm going to take a very short break, come back, regroup, reload the videos.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So it looks like the U.S. has also deployed drone boats to the Gulf, and of course that could be something that changes the whole picture there, because of course the Strait of Hormuz mined, and the competition is underway to see who ends up controlling it. So there's that going on too. Now over in Ukraine, we have significant developments from overnight. Over the past 24 hours, Russia has launched one of its largest combined missile and drone assaults. And again, all of that was really focused pretty much entirely on the capital, Kyiv. Ukrainian officials report Russia fired more than 40 missiles, many ballistic, and around 120 attack drones overnight and into this morning. Air defenses intercepted a significant number of those, including 17 ballistic missiles and over 100 drones, but some of them did get through, and they did strike multiple sites across the country. In Kyiv, explosions damaged residential areas, a logistics warehouse, and other infrastructure, leaving a strong smell of smoke and visible craters. At least one person killed, 16 wounded in the capital alone, with broader reports of 16 civilians killed and 77 injured across the country in the past day, many in Kharkiv and Donetsk regions. President Zelensky described it as a massive attack, urging faster delivery of air defense support from partners. And we've heard, these pleas for help from Zelensky ramping up over the past month or so because the Ukrainians have depleted pretty much their entire stockpile of defensive Patriot missiles. Here's Zelensky posting today on the overnight attacks from Russia.
Нашим силам ППО та усім захисникам неба.
He's saying, I'll read you the text on the screen. Here we have captions. It says, fellow Ukrainians, work is still ongoing in Kyiv at the sites of the Russian strikes. A large number of ballistic missiles were used. Today was one of the largest ballistic missile attacks. Kyiv and the region were the Russians' primary target. They had been preparing this attack for several days, stockpiling missiles. The threat, of course, remains even now, and this must be taken into account. Russia is placing its wagers on ballistic missiles, and it is because of them that Putin still believes in his war. Today, our air defense forces and all our defenders of the skies managed to shoot down 18 drones and neutralize more than 100 drones. It's very important that what is happening and that air defense missiles are needed to protect lives literally every single day. I very much expect Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other government officials at all levels to promptly engage with our partners regarding the packages we have already agreed on. It is important to accelerate everything, both with our European partners and with the United States. The result is needed every day. Today's attack damaged more than 100 sites in Kyiv and the Kyiv region. There were also strikes against Kharkiv, the Sumy and Donetsk regions, and Kherson today. I'm grateful to everyone who is truly helping people and saving lives. Today, I continued speaking with experienced Ukrainian military officials, Mikhailo Drapachy, Vladimir Gorbatyuk, and Oleg Apostol. Each of them is well known in the army. They reported on the situation in the relevant sectors, and we also discussed the overall course of the war. It is important to assess our strategy going forward and Ukraine's proactive steps how to force Russia to end this war with a dignified peace for Ukraine and guaranteed security. There are various components to this, and I want to hear how commanders at different levels across Ukraine's defense and security forces see it. Tomorrow I will hold key talks. Ukraine must achieve its goals, and it will. One more point, we continue implementing our long-range sanctions plan against Russia for the war, the oil industry supplies for the occupation contingent, our Ukrainian mid-range strikes and long-range strikes. These are our responses to what Russia is doing against Ukraine and to the way the Russians think. You cannot simply go on living your life and pretend not to notice when your country is killing a neighboring country. Pressure must be brought to bear on Moscow. Pressure is needed so that there is peace. This is exactly how we are working. I thank everyone who is helping. I thank everyone who cares about people and who cares about life. Glory to Ukraine. That was Vladimir Zelensky. And Ukraine releasing this footage of attacks deep inside Russian territory again. Again, he calls these long-range sanctions targeting Russian infrastructure, oil, energy assets. This war that Trump said he would end in 24 hours or less on coming back into the presidency is now to its 5th year, and it's escalating. This is another war that is being taken to a whole new scale. This one's not over yet either, not by a long shot. All the pundits who said it was going to be over almost before it started, no, not so. Here's footage from the overnight attacks. Let me make sure I get you the, here we go. This, I believe, is primarily footage from Kyiv. And you can see what's happening here. They're clearly hitting residential areas, apartment buildings. I'd say this kind of strategy is designed to demoralize. And you can see here too, yeah. I don't see much in the way of military targets here. Now that looks like a, I don't know, an office complex. I don't know. That's more of a, those look like shops of some kind. Whatever they were, they're burned out now. Yeah. That's clearly residential. Those people live there. And there. And there. And we showed you that Wildberries warehouse that went up in a massive ball of flames and smoke yesterday. More footage of that. That again, the result of a Ukrainian drone strike inside Russian territory. Neither side giving up, and with this kind of stuff going on, something's got to give. It's this, and the situation in the Middle East with Iran, that also, I mean, that just, something's going to have to happen there. And from what I'm seeing, you know, so many pundits out there tonight, they're all basically saying, pretty much all of them, that there will be some sort of an escalation. What exactly is going to happen? We don't quite know. So yeah, Russia launched Iskander ballistic missiles last night on Ukraine. About 38 Iskanders and 6 Zircon hypersonic missiles. And because Ukraine doesn't have much in the way of Patriot interceptors anymore, they're all basically gone. This is what it looked like overnight. All right, you know what I think I'll do is I haven't even checked there yet, but we'll do it together right now. Let's just see what they're reporting over on RT, Russia Today, to get the Russian perspective on this for a little balance, right? Just to be fair and balanced. Putin thanks North Korea for helping liberate Russian territory. President praised the role of DPRK's troops in driving Kyiv's forces out of the Kursk region in 2025. You may recall that when that all began, Russia and North Korea both denied that there were any North Korean troops in there at all. Do you not remember? Probably not. Most people have a short memory when it comes to these things, but I certainly recall it was like, no, not true, not happening. And the more the Ukrainians showed proof of it, the more the denials ramped up until it became entirely undeniable. And now we're seeing that it's just right out in the open. Trump resorts to whataboutism after Iranian strike kills U.S. troops. 4 U.S. service members killed in Iranian retaliatory attacks. Okay, so they're saying it's up to 4 now. So as I said, 3 for sure, and possibly the 4th. And they're reporting that it is now 4. Let's see. Maybe the Pentagon has confirmed it now. Sorry about that. We went black there for a moment and kind of lost where we were. Maybe it's got something to do with us trying to get the Russian feed up here. Well, we'll persevere, and if that's a censorship thing, we do not comply. 4 U.S. service members killed in Iranian retaliatory strikes were at Pentagon. The troops lost their lives as Tehran's forces pounded U.S. military facilities in Jordan and Iraq with ballistic missiles and UAVs on Friday. So it says here 3 U.S. service members have been killed. So 3 or 4 after Iranian forces struck American military forces in Jordan with ballistic missiles. We've reported that. And according to a statement released by U.S. Central Command on Saturday, the casualties were incurred the previous day. Additionally, another U.S. soldier was killed during a controlled detonation of unexploded ordnance from a downed Iranian one-way attack drone in Iraq. I see. Okay, so there's your 4th casualty. And U.S. President Donald Trump had posted nothing on Truth Social for more than 24 hours and offered only a brief response when News Nation asked him about the deaths. Yeah, he has not really said too much about it. And we're going to address that at the end of the broadcast tonight. So you're not going to want to miss that. We had a couple of nights ago showing the attacks or the attack on Jordan with those Iranian drones that resulted in the deaths. And now the 4th confirmed, but not directly related to that. So 4. So does that get the total number of deaths now to 18? I believe it does. I believe it does. And that's just because of this ongoing conflict in the Middle East right now. The result of President Trump's decision to go to war with Iran, and it was his decision. And more footage here tonight of the Russian attack on Ukraine and the devastating effects. real human beings trying to survive in this.
Давайте кошку зразу сюди. Ага, вот даже вот так вот, да? Давайте, где у вас тут?
Again, that's what they're dealing with over there in Ukraine. But over here in Canada, what do we have? Well, I'd say it's pretty much another day in paradise compared to that. Stay with me, more coming up.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Yeah, not a lot coming out of Trump. I guess he did do an interview with the New York Post saying the deaths are a shame. Yeah, that's an understatement. Man. So much for the little excursion. So, you know, it's the impact from his decision to do this is being felt around the world. And with regard to Americans tonight, you know, there are travel advisories in effect for American citizens. In the past 48 hours, the U.S. State Department has issued and reinforced key travel warnings because of all of the escalating global tensions, especially because of what is happening in the Middle East. And so these remain in full effect as of this hour on this day. First, a worldwide caution is active tonight, urging all Americans overseas to exercise increased vigilance. And the alert highlights heightened risks from the U.S.-Iran conflict, warning that Iran-backed groups now could target U.S. citizens, which is what I said when all of this began. Because of these actions, you know, you're really poking a hornet's nest. They're not going to fight in, you know, like just go toe-to-toe with you. Iran is going to probably look at using terrorism as one of its main strategies. And so now you have these travel advisories in effect, warning that Iran-backed groups could target U.S. citizens, diplomatic facilities, American-linked sites anywhere in the world, not just in the Middle East. And travelers are being advised to monitor local news and avoid large gatherings when they're in countries abroad and stay in close contact with the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate. flight cancellations and sudden airspace closures, they say, in these advisories may disrupt plans. And so in the Middle East, several level 3 and level 4 advisories are being reinforced. Americans are being told they should reconsider travel tonight to countries including the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Bahrain, and others in the Gulf due to the complex security environment and the risk of escalation. Iran remains at the highest level, level 4. It's simply a do not travel. Obviously, you don't want to go visit Iran right now. U.S. citizens who are there are being told they should leave immediately if possible, if you haven't done so already. And if you're still there, I don't know why you would be. But similar do not travel warnings are in place for active conflict zones as well, like Ukraine, where these Russian strikes have really escalated in the last couple of weeks in particular. This because Ukraine now taking the fight to Russia directly in Russian territory, hitting energy infrastructure, weapon storage facilities, targets that will affect supply chains, bringing weapons and supplies to troops inside Ukrainian territories. Officials are recommending tonight enrolling in the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. They call it STEP for real-time alerts. And there is a website, I believe, that you can go to get advisories on this. I think it's travel.state.gov. Let me see if I can pull the website up for you tonight. There it is there. Okay, so show it to you. No, we want this one, not that one. There. There's the website, travel.state.gov. So you can get consular information and info on services, visas, passports, those sorts of things. And that again is travel.state.gov. If you're traveling, in fact, I'll put that up on the screen. And right there. Nope, I didn't want it in there. I want it to hate when that happens. Here we go. travel.state.gov/en.html. Even if you just put in the first part, travel.state.gov, it'll take you to the website. For our U.S. viewers who need this information, it's right there. And you can refer back by just hitting the timeline a little bit and rewinding a bit on the video, and you'll be able to see that again. I'm not going to leave it up. As we move on with other coverage tonight. So, as I said, the World Cup, big event, now concluded. Spain, new champs. Wildfire smoke was a big concern heading into this. Trump was saying he wouldn't hesitate to cancel the FIFA World Cup final if the smoke was too thick, but it did go off as scheduled today. And it wasn't just a sporting event, it was a political event. And we saw tonight, if I have the clips here, Mark Carney was there, along with other world leaders. Maybe I don't have the clip. Oh, maybe I don't because we kind of went black. Well, he was there, trust me. I'll find the clip for you here. Scheinbaum from Mexico also went. World leaders, lots of them went. I'm not going to run. Oh, this is from C-SPAN, so I guess we can run this as Trump arrived at MetLife Stadium today for the World Cup final. So we'll show you this because, of course, he had to make his grand entrance by air. El Presidente. Here he is. And then, of course, he also presented the World Cup to the new champions. And, of course, as you look at the social media posts on it, some are saying people were cheering, others are saying that people were booing. You can assess for yourself. Here. Is he being booed or is he being cheered? Which way you going there, President? All right, so there's that. And then, of course, because Carney was seeing there at the World Cup, people are, slanting the images. There's video and photos. Here's a photo of him, Getty images. I'm not going to put it up the full way because they're copywriting their images. But there he is smiling, and then some people are saying, "See, it's great to go to the United States," as many Canadians are refusing to go, boycotting travel to the U.S. because of the trade war. That's old, I think. And here's the video I was actually looking for. As they listen to the national anthems being played. Oh my God. Talk, you hit a note that high. Talk about a rupture. Sorry, I shouldn't. No, it's funny. That was funny. Especially if you remember the old SCTV. Oh, and there again, here's a Getty image, but highlights who is there. Carney, Scheinbaum, and Melania. All together. Scheinbaum saying she posted a video prior to going because I think some people wanted her to boycott, not go, just not go. And she said, no, it's, to paraphrase, she took the high road. And even though you have all these tensions between the United States and its sort of allies because of these trade wars, the tariffs and everything, she says it's classier to show up. And I would say too, that it's wise wise for Carney and Scheinbaum both to be there. And yeah, you one way or another, you're going to be criticized. If you don't go there, your critics are going to criticize you. And if you do go, they're going to find some way to criticize you or spin it in a way that's supposed to be a cost to you politically. But no, he's got to be there. That's his job. His job, it's some people say, you know, for a politician, it's you have to eat crap and smile while you do it, especially if you're dealing with President Trump. But make no mistake, sometimes while you appear to be doing something like that, a lot more is going on in the background that sometimes means the little guy comes out on top. So we'll see what happens. What else do we have going on tonight? So the Tate brothers, too. We reported on this last night. Arrested in Miami, and United Kingdom announcing additional charges, bringing the total to 59 charges against these guys. Andrew and Tristan Tate. 42 for Andrew Tate, 17 for Tristan, stemming from allegations involving a total of 7 victims with new offenses alleged between 2010 and 2017. Andrew Tate now facing 7 further counts of rape, 3 counts of arranging and facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, 3 counts of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, 19 charges related to indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. Tristan Tate, 1 count of sexual assault, 2 counts of rape, 3 counts of arranging and facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation. They were arrested in Miami. We showed you the video yesterday. Apparently, they were there to co-host some sort of a bare knuckle fighting event. They're supposed to appear in federal court in Miami, I think tomorrow. United Kingdom formally requesting extradition. The Tates are awaiting proceedings in the U.S., as I just said. Probably, yeah, they'll be in court tomorrow. Their U.S. lawyer has indicated they will contest all of this. No extradition has occurred yet, obviously, as we are anticipating this court appearance, which will, I'm sure, be heavily covered. It blows my mind how many people are stepping up to defend them on social media, saying that it's the UK government that is in the wrong somehow and corrupt. And I think because they're sort of on the conservative side, that suddenly, well, not suddenly, but through this, some people just defending them because, you know, they're bros in the manosphere and they're denying all these allegations. Is it entirely political or are they guilty? A lot of smoke there. I guess we'll find out if there's fire at some point, if these things actually go to trial of some kind. But I know that the Tate brothers are saying that they don't expect they're going to be extradited because it'll be bogged down in legal red tape that could take a decade or more. And they seem to be pretty tight with the Trump administration and the Trump family. And I'm wondering how much protection they might actually be getting from Donnie T and the T team. Oh my God. Anyway, this is all separate from but overlapping with their ongoing legal issues in Romania. These guys, they're too hot to handle, man. Pretty gross. Anyway, talking about too hot to handle, we've got this whole wildfire situation in Canada. Still a big problem as of this evening. Approximately 950 wildfires still burning across Canada. The situation here, where I'm at in Southern Ontario, in terms of air quality, much better tonight. Not nearly as bad as it has been. Still a little bit of smoke apparent, but nowhere near as bad as it has been over the past 3 days. Over 2,900 fires reported so far this year, nearly 3 million hectares burned. Fire danger remains high to extreme in several regions, especially parts of Ontario, the Northwest Territories, northern Manitoba, and interior British Columbia. Also, I took note of this clip from Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew, who, really kind of hit the nail on the head. I don't care if you're a New Democrat, a socialist, a communist, a conservative, whatever you are. I don't care. When it comes to, I think he's quite right in framing things in the way that he's about to frame them, saying that when it comes to an emergency, a crisis, you have to try to put politics aside, get people to pull together. It's just the right thing to do. And you hear all of this bluster from the U.S. side where they've politicized this whole damn thing.
Well, I've shaken the hands of American firefighters in northern Manitoba who are helping us out. And I would challenge these ambulance chasers in the U.S. Congress to go and do the same, and to hear how much the American firefighting heroes who are here, how much they loved our province. And this is what turns people off from politics, is when you got a group of Congress people trying to trivialize and make hay out of a wildfire season where we've lost lives in our province. There's no place for that in politics. If you can't get likes on Instagram from your own skills as a politician, don't bother trying to throw other people under the bus during a state of emergency.
Yeah. I think that's true. But why is it happening? Why are they threatening? Why is Trump threatening tariffs on more tariffs on Canada because of the wildfire smoke? Politicians, also some of them, literally threatening to invade Canada, to take matters into their own hands, saying that we can't manage our forests on our own. Really? It's kind of the pot calling the kettle black here. Case in point, as we saw, which senator was it yesterday? Moreno or whatever. He was saying that, and he's going to pass. He's going to introduce some sort of proposed legislation or bill or what. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but he's saying that he's going to take steps maybe tomorrow or sometime this week to move toward having Mark Carney and Premier Doug Ford from Ontario sanctioned personally and have their visas denied. So what, they can't travel to the United States anymore? So I guess Carney wouldn't be able to go to the next whatever big event it is, like we saw him there with the president today. Yeah. Anyway, but take a look at this. That ain't Canada. That's Florida. 20,000 acres. Fire. That's not today. That's from last month. But the U.S. has lots of wildfires every year, too. Look what happened out in California. But, of course, Trump politicized that, saying that, just because they didn't have the water and I didn't had to turn on the faucet over here and get this pipeline thing down there, and they didn't manage their forests properly. Of course, it's always easy to criticize after the fact, isn't it? Okay, so it looks like Iran and Kuwait exchanging missile fire tonight. Let me see. I've got short clips here that appear to be fresh, such as they are. better than the UFO footage, I think, that we've been getting in the from the time to fully disclose files from the U.S. government, although it looks kind of like it, doesn't it? No audio on these. So we're still following this. Tonight's wave of attacks from the U.S. is still in its early stages, I would say. Tonight, commencing around an hour and 12 minutes ago. That's the first indication of any kind of video coming out of there. And yeah, New York Times now also reporting that that soldier killed in Iraq while an Iranian one-way attack drone was being rendered safe was not an explosive ordnance disposal or an EOD technician. Instead, the soldier was struck by blast fragmentation and debris when the drone was detonated. So this from the New York Times tonight on that additional death. Service member killed during the disposal of an Iranian drone in Iraq on Saturday was not a bomb technician, but another soldier who was hit by debris or fragments when the drone was detonated, according to a U.S. official who spoke on condition of anonymity. The incident is under investigation, according to the official, who was not authorized to discuss operational matters publicly. So that brings it to 4. Also, reports coming out that the Israeli military is preparing thousands of intercontinental ballistic missiles, which they can then use to respond to these Iranian attacks, counterattacks, depending on which way you view it. And they're rattling the saber and basically saying that if this continues, they're going to escalate in a really serious way, kind of threatening to wipe everything out. So we'll see. We'll see. So much for the ceasefire. There was never a damn ceasefire. And the desalination plant that we reported on last night that the U.S. apparently struck, conflicting reports about that. I don't know if the U.S. actually hit a desalination plant. I can tell you this. We reported it and showed video yesterday, which suggested that it was a real thing. One of the reasons that I ran that is because Trump had actually threatened to do that, which is controversial in itself. Just threatening to do it, then to actually do it would really be even more controversial. Some would say that it's a violation of war protocol, if not even a war crime, because you are attacking infrastructure that is civilian in nature. And as I said, the water's probably more valuable than the oil. They need to get the salt out of the water so people have drinking water. If you cut the drinking water supply off in that kind of climate, it's very hot there. People need the water to survive. So, but reports coming out after the broadcast last night, some reports saying that no, the video coming out and the reports of that were fake, that it was Iran putting that stuff out. And yet the president himself was threatening to do just exactly that. Well, tonight, I don't know which is true one way or the other, as Iran is posting this video now, which I think is to some degree suspect. I don't know, saying that this is them repairing the water desalination plant for 10,000 citizens after it was hit by the United States. Is that even possible? I suppose depends on how much damage is there, but I'll show you the video they're posting tonight. Was it really hit by some sort of a strike? It looks like there were some pipes damaged by something from the video from last night, and now these same pipes appear to be repaired. Take it for whatever it's. Maybe the same pipes that we showed you last night that were mangled. Maybe. Now unmangled, it's still what appears to be a lot of rubble. Fixing the desalination plant. I don't know. Let me take a little break here. I'm going to try and verify some of this stuff, and we'll come back on the other side.
We are the Mavericks. Welcome to the Matrix, baby. Hope you like the view. We are the Mavericks. The world is watching. We are the Mavericks.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So yeah, as I'm just, that video is definitely real video, and it does show real damage, but I can't confirm tonight whether the U.S. hit that that desalination plant or not. Because the U.S. hasn't really commented on it. At least they've sort of implicitly denied it, but no firm and formal statement on it. So I just don't know. Just more fog of war. But no doubt about it, Trump threatened to do it. All right. We'll keep following it. Yeah. So wildfire smoke, tariffs, sanction these guys. Don't let the prime minister into the United States. The rhetoric ramping up. Oh, it just goes on and on and on. And that's the way it is on this. What is it? July 19th, 2026. Share this one with you too, because I was making light of the testosterone testing. Well, I'm not the only one. This has been sent to me by a few people over the past 24 hours. Let me share this with you. This is brilliant. It's brilliant. And a response to Petey Hegseth's testosterone screening program for U.S. super soldier troops, making sure, because, you know, they're just not manly enough. Right here.
There's a time in every young man's life he has a touch of shame. He wants to be a fella, but he feels just like a dame. From Christopher to Stanley, we long to be more manly. Well, Uncle Pete has got a treat, and you'll be glad you came. Testosterone, it's the juice that makes you burly. Testosterone, you'll no longer feel so girly. Testosterone, with a smile so white and pearly. Watch your little guy salute, watch your rifle cock and shoot. Testosterone, it's a gift from God Almighty. Testosterone, filling up your tighty-whitey. Testosterone, it's a kick to feel so mighty. So stand and shout and whip it out. Testosterone.
God, I lost the end. He says, God, I love men. At the end of that. Brilliant. Did have one other thing I wanted to share with you tonight. And if I can just get my notes on this. Because I came across it. Here, I'll just, I have to bring it up over here. It's a political cartoon. And I want to do something a little different tonight and leave you with this. Because this goes back to Trump's first run for the Republican nomination. I believe it was in 2016. It's a political cartoon, award-winning cartoonist. In just a moment to bring it to you here. Mike Lukovich of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And yeah, it goes back. Let me get the date on this. Pretty sure it was 2016. When I first saw it, I hadn't seen it then. It was from, for crying out loud, stupid computer. Yeah, because back in 2016, he had some clashes with Gold Star families, and since then, this when I first saw it, I thought it was current from now, but it is not. This was actually him being depicted in this political cartoon way back in 2016, before he was president. And it highlighted even then his narcissistic, psychopathic behavior, his super huge ego, where it was, in his inappropriate comments, that at the time, people found it in some strange way refreshing. I laughed about a lot of the things he was doing as well, because they say, well, he's just speaking his mind and he's saying what a lot of other people are thinking, and he just doesn't hold back, and he's not a politician. But a lot of it was, even at the time, disgusting and gross. But because he always has been able to portray himself as some sort of a poor little rich boy, a victim, flipping everything upside down, he gets away with this kind of behavior that I'm about to show you. And of course, at the time, because he hadn't been president yet, he had a clean slate. So he was not responsible for, he can't pin any of the deaths of U.S. service members on him back in 2016. Nothing had happened yet. But things have changed. And between his first presidency and the current presidency, we now have 17, maybe 18, I think 18 now, deaths as a result of this war in Iran. U.S. service members, troops paying the ultimate price, making the ultimate sacrifice. And I've said early on, this war, for what? What has been gained? You have now have constrained, restricted shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, where it was flowing freely before, possibly like forever, maybe tolls will be charged on ships, increasing the price of oil worldwide. Gas prices up, oil prices up, the world economy disrupted. You have a country that the president promised to back up people who would stand up to the government of Iran, and then didn't come to support them when they did. As a result, many of the protesters were told, thousands killed by the Iranian regime, because Trump didn't come in with any kind of aid after encouraging them to rise up against the government. And then now he's bombing the country. And while by doing that, it seems like he is uniting the Iranian population, even those who might otherwise have supported him. They're, I think, in many respects, uniting against the American attack. So I think that it's having potentially the opposite effect. It's undermining U.S. efforts there to stabilize the region, to maybe even bring in some sort of regime change. I was watching a video just today with Sean Penn, who had been there and, viewed, I think, by many people as sort of being on the left of the political spectrum. But I watch everything from everyone, and very interesting guy. Not exactly he's not in real life the Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Spicoli, airhead, stoner that people, I think, really associate largely with him. No, he's documentary film producer. He's a journalist in the truest sense of the word. You may not agree with a lot of the things that he says or his political views, but he's been there. He's traveled around. And the one thing that did resonate with me was that he had met with a political, like a candidate, a leader of the Green Party within Iran, who And it really resonated because she said to him that over time they would probably have some sort of regime change within Iran itself because young people want it. But if the United States goes in and bombs them, that it will undermine all of that forward momentum towards some sort of change, positive change within the country to liberate people, because it will unite opposition to the United States. And I fear that might actually be what is going on in there right now, because because the people there, I think, do yearn for more freedom within Iran, but you can't bomb people into freedom, in my view. And that's kind of what's happening right now. I think the strategy that we're seeing unfold is simply that. Trump is just going to keep bombing and bombing and bombing because he doesn't want to send ground troops in. But a lot of pundits saying that something's got to give, and it's quite apparent something does have to give, because now he's backed himself into a corner. You've got midterms coming up. The politics in this is thick. Something is going to change. All of this talk about memorandums of understanding, ceasefires, it's all been a bunch of crap. As I've been telling you from the beginning, there's never been a ceasefire. This memorandum of understanding wasn't worth the paper it was written on. The Iranians don't trust Trump. I don't blame them for not trusting Trump, and we can't trust the Iranians because they're not trustworthy either. So you have two completely untrustworthy parties who can't trust each other, and now you've got a full-scale war in your hands, which it was from the very beginning. It wasn't just some sort of an excursion, and it's really destabilizing the entire world, and it is bringing us closer to the brink of an actual third world war and maybe even a nuclear conflict. I don't know where it's all going to end, but it's not good. Nothing good has come of this at all. And that's why this political cartoon resonates so much, because this is not, we were warned. I didn't listen. I thought Trump was a victim too. I thought that it was all political attacks. But this was a warning from way back in 2016. And so tonight, I bring you this cartoon from this award-winning political cartoonist, Mike Lukovich, who foreshadowed, I think, everything that far back. So no song tonight to end the broadcast. Instead, I leave you with this political cartoon. And until I meet with you again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side, I just leave you with a moment of silence, remembering, honoring the people who have made the ultimate sacrifice. See you tomorrow.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.